Good morning, Stampers. Time for a fun Friday fold, continuation of my virtual card fold class that I was going to do using these butterflies and the butterfly DSP, which is no longer available. Today we're going to do a card that I actually did do in one of the classes and I loved it so much. It's called a corner tuck fold, and I had intended to do that today. And oddly enough, one of my downline had done a class about 3 weeks ago, a video, and she had some awesome samples. So I'm kind of piggybacking off of some of hers. The orientation for this is really nice because you can go a couple of different directions. So I've been playing with this, and we'll share some ideas again at the end. And let's start by what you might need to do this along with me. This one, as I said, is done with the Butterfly Brilliance DSP that is no longer available. The words come from, and this was on my blog, the Beautiful Friendship stamp set. Love the words and the stamp set. We're going to be using that next week in my retirement class. I really do like it. And I just love the way this cuts and works. So it's a real quick card with lots of possibilities. You tuck it into a little corner that you create, and then you lift it up for your information. So this is the simple layout. The other one isn't all that difficult, but you can also run it this way and either have your corner tuck at the top or at the bottom. So let's get started. Okay, this is called a corner tuck fold. And what you're going to need is a half a sheet of cardstock cut lengthwise. I'm using Night of Navy today. I hope it's not too dark to see. I generally don't like to work with darker colors. And so you cut it in half lengthwise. So you cut it at 4 1/2. And the other one, you can make 2 cards as always. So basically, that's what you need to get this card started. So while you write it down, and I know it's not going to make sense to you right now, there are 2 options as to how much you can trim from the front. And you have to plan a little bit or do a couple samples and you'll be able to see how much you want to trim. I am using today, because we're close to Father's Day, I've had this set and I haven't used it. It's called Handsomely Suited. Great for guy cards. Does not have to necessarily be a guy who wears a tie of any kind to work. There are also suspenders. There is a coordinating die set. And you can see I haven't used it much because it's not on a magnet yet. You've got bow ties, you have suit fronts, you have shirt collars, but you also have like suspenders and pockets and buttons. And I have seen them made anything from a flannel shirt to a scrub. So there's a lot of possibilities depending on who the male in your life, or I have seen it also made into female shirts. So this is the set that I'm going to be using, Handsomely Suited. And what else you're going to need? I am going to be doing option 2, where I'm trimming 3 inches away. I'll show you the other ones where I've trimmed off 3/4. That means the DSP for the top of the card, this top flap, will vary depending on how much you cut out. Okay? And you will need a square of DSP that is 2 1/8 inch square. And you're going to cut that at an angle to create your corner tuck. Okay, let's get started. This goes really quickly. Grab my cutter here so you can see how we get started. You'll fold your card, and then you'll cut off either your 3 inches. Looks like I need a new blade. Your 3 inches or your 2 3/4 inches from the front of your card. That leaves you the flap where you put your DSP, and then another piece. And what's nice and neat, I love it when you can take a piece of cardstock or card and you create it, and now we're going to use that piece for the front of our card. So you will also possibly, it depends on your card. This card, because it's dark, I decided I was going to put a piece of white inside. So I'm going to do that right now. And this white insert is 4 by 5 1/4, or what I call a quarter sheet of cardstock trimmed. Just like that. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and I'm using, don't remember the name. It's this cool paper that goes along with this set. It's a whole suite. Well-suited designer series paper. It has some really nice prints for ties and bow ties, as well as nice things for just dress shirts. So here's these 3. This would be really nice for a tie. Nice casual shirt, ladies dress, pinstripe suit. Then we also have another stripe and a tweed. Love this check, gingham check. Another pinstripe. Did I get 2 of the same? I may have a plaid and what I'm using for the tie, which to me is a real traditional tie look. So it's using navy, gray, I don't remember which red, and black. Let's see what color red. Pacific Point and Poppy Parade. I didn't think it was. So this is your piece that you've chosen. Because I've trimmed 3 inches from the front, my piece is 2 inches by 4 inches. That leaves me an 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Let's see if my snail is working today. So far, so good. I just loaded it again. Not because it was giving me fits, because it ran out. I do enjoy that. So I like to leave 1/4 of an inch all the way around. Okay, like so. And then I'm going to take my navy piece that I cut from the front, and I'm going to build my design. I'm going to go the same way I did on my butterfly card, which this orientation, vertical. And so I did a little planning. I cut a white piece, and it looks like I didn't cut it short enough, to layer on top of that. Let me see what I need to trim off here, and I'll let you know. I'm going to go 4 inches. It is 2 3/4 by 4. Let's see if that works. Sure does. Okay. 4 corners down the center, like so. Then I've cut out this cute little tie. And the reason I went with the 3 inches is my tie barely fits on my layer, and I wanted some white underneath it to make that kind of pop. So I've cut out the tie, and then there's this cute little knot that goes with it. And so I'm going to adhere the tie flat. Like over here. And I think the knot I'm going to pop up, and I wasn't sure which size would work. I think I'm going to use my bigger one. Give it a little dimension. And if you had little images you'd like to use for a tie clip or a tie tack or anything like that. Oh, that's cute. Then there's a few different verses that are in this stamp set. I had to find one that was small enough to fit, which is generally how I figure out what I'm going to use. It's a happy birthday to you. Have a happy Father's Day, handsome. So Father's Day is coming up. Thank you. You're the best. And to one of the world's greatest dads. And that's the one I've selected because it will fit in the space I have available. So I'm going to take my Night of Navy, my new Night of Navy that doesn't want to flip. I've replaced a lot of my pads. Tap, tap, tap. I'm going to put it right here. 1, 2, 3. No rock and roll. Okay. And it is really moist. I can still see. Okay. I'm just about done, believe it or not. This then is going to go here on the front, and you want it equal all the way around. Now, one of the tips that I'd like to share with you is how do you don't want adhesive where you don't want it. And so what I do, and I'll put a mark here, and then I'll bring it in close. I put a mark on either side once I get this all there, a pencil mark. I don't know if you can see that or not, right next to where it is, okay? Because I'm going to take my adhesive and I'm going to run it along that edge between the two pencil ticks on the card flap. And the top is going to stick to the top flap. So I'm going to take and put some at the top of the flap. Now we don't have to worry about where all the glue has gone or not gone. Line it back up, center it between your two tick marks. In this case, I can also use my pattern. And there's my card front, which in and of itself would be just fine. But we want to add a little corner embellishment. In this one, I will probably add it here because I've got the tie. So you kind of look at your card and it gives you a chance to figure out what you want to do. This is that 2 1/8 inch square. You can make it any size you want, but I found that that one works the best. One of mine I just did, I had a 2 inch square because it worked better. And you can go into your trimmer, or you can just use a pair of scissors. I'll show you how to put that into the trimmer. Point to point, and in this case I have a pattern, so I kind of want to pay attention to how I'm going to cut this at an angle. When we did this in class, and you cut from point to point, okay? We could share with a neighbor, and actually this print is such that you could do that too, all right? So that is one way to make this little corner triangle, and you have it one left over. You need some pretty sturdy tape. My poor tape. This is tear and tape as well, like what we carry and is soon to be gone. Actually, it's retiring on May 4th, actually May 3rd. This is only 1/8 inch wide, so I hate to send you other places, but I have tear tape in all, see how I'm tearing it? In all different widths. And so this is an 1/8 inch wide because you want to give as much tucking space as you can with your card. And this is pressure sensitive, so run your fingernail or a pair of scissors, and sometimes I pull it from the middle and sometimes it's wherever it will grab. I leave this closed and I adhere it to the corner. Okay, so my card is done. How fun is that? If you want, you could place your other piece in here. I kind of like that. Maybe I'll do that this time. And for guide cards, I don't usually do too much more, but if you wanted to, you definitely could. One of the other things I wanted to point out that I found out from Robin's descriptions and some of the things that she did, instead of cutting a piece of cardstock like I did from a square, she actually went to our stitched nested triangles. And our triangle dies, which I hadn't used up until then, I love them because you've got a true triangle, you've got, I don't know, math was not my forte, you've got a banner, and then this size here works really, really well, or shape, for your corner. And it's just a little smaller. I don't know if you can see that, but it gives it a nice stitched edge to it. The larger one, I'll show you in a minute, is just a little larger. So if you need to use some space for your design, you can go ahead and use that. So if you'd rather not fuss with the cutter or your scissors, there's always the stitched triangle dies. Okay, so let's take a look at some other samples. Okay, back to my original, which was my butterfly with that same orientation. Okay, Let's see. This one I designed kind of from Robin's. I did use the stitched corner down here. If you can see the stitching on it, that's kind of nice. This is the Timeless Tulips, which is continuing. And in order to get the entire design on a flap here, I did cut off the front. I did not reuse that piece. Boo-hoo. I cut it off, it looks like 2 5/8, but I did use it for my corner piece. And so underneath, I have nothing. It's a color where you could could write very easily. So that's the same orientation that goes up and down. I also have, love this, I haven't used this set enough. This is showing it going the other direction. And so you just need a little piece of DSP, a layer. And again, I decided to determine ahead of time based on how big my cone was going to be, because I wanted to mount it on white. Again, I used the stitching on the corner. Love this. This is punched from the paper. And again, I didn't put anything on the inside, even though I could. Yeah, and there's paper that punches out of. I think the punch is now finally back in. This bundle is continuing in the new annual catalog. However, this fun paper that coordinates with it will only be available through June. Okay, Timeless Tulips. This is some from the Designer Series paper stack. It will end May 3rd. And of course, the butterflies are already gone. Here's one that I think Robin did, or I took her color combination. I love, love, love pink and black together. And it utilizes our Love You Always black and white floral paper. It will be retiring, but not until the end of June. And a stamp set that's called, one of my favorites, it's called Pretty Perennials. It's not because I love the stamp, because I do love the happy and the birthday, but, which is here, and the birthday. I love the other dies that go with it. Well, these aren't the ones that go with it. These are the dies that go with the stitched floral, but the happy comes from this set. I apologize. It's been a long week. Okay. So I cut these out. This is a new in color that you'll be introduced to here. It's called Polished Pink. So this will be around for a couple of years, 2 years to be exact. Love it with the black. I decided to put my corner down here. And then when it opens, I did put a piece of white inside, which I meant to cut so I could show you how I do that. Let me cut one here real quickly. Because I don't want that piece inside to show. You want it behind whatever it is. It's a little wide. Your front design is. Okay. To do that then, oh, I still have it to do. I had one cut and then I used it. Shimani. Okay, so what I do is I line this up. Okay, like so, with the edge so you can't see it. So I know I've got a good shape because it's not bigger than my front piece. I put adhesive on this. And I close it, stick it down, and when I open it, my piece is here. And you want to do this before you put your corner in because you want to still be able to tuck the corner in like so. This makes me happy. I've had kind of a rough week this week, so this makes me happy, even though it's black. Okay, so to step it up a little bit, I'm sorry to see this paper leaving. This is one of my favorites. When this catalog that's about to retire came out, I saw these papers in petal pink and gray granite, which is what this is, smoky slate and basic gray, and the peony was the icing on the cake. I love the paper, but it is leaving, as all of our DSPs do at the conclusion of a catalog. So this is could be it for any occasion. I've used Wishing You Much Happiness Today and Always. It's from the So Sentimental stamp set that is retiring. I'm hoping to share with you some of my Get It While You Can stamp sets. This would be one of my recommendations. But what I have done is this has the I took a large one and cut it. It needed a little bit more to catch it with using the scalloped rectangles here. So I took a larger rectangle from the stitched rectangles and I cut it so it would fit. I put a scalloped rectangle underneath. And over here on the side, and darn, I forgot my gift card. This is the perfect size, and this is a large rectangle or triangle that you can slip a gift card underneath that and close it up, and you've got a really, really nice gift card holder. One of my business cards is the same size as a gift card. So you tuck it in there, and you tuck it in there, and you have a card and a gift holder, and a lot of fun with anything. Could run it like this. Lots of possibilities. And speaking of lots of possibilities, Mom and I were working on these last Sunday, and we did this ice cream card. And I had punched out a bunch of ice cream scoops from the paper. And what I still would like to do, and just ran out of time, is to make a card going this direction, this orientation, and do another scoop, because there's 3 papers that these go in, and punch out a cone and have the cone paper running the other direction. Ideas, ladies, that's what I'm also here for, just to show you fast, fun cards, neat folds, some of which I hadn't done before, and something that hopefully you will have an opportunity to try. As always, eventually all of these with directions will be placed on my blog. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.